from the early 60s, I think. This is the Bulova 190 clock radio, All American 5. It's pink, very strong pink too. Probably designed for the lady of the house back in the early 60s. Lots of diamond facet type things, the pink, gold, silver numbering, lots of little accents along here that kind of evoke a luxury thing. Bulova printed on an embellished point there. It's probably reverse painted. We have our volume dial gold and our tuning dial gold. Got to see the civil defense marker there that kind of dates it. So this is a very feminine radio. Probably would have been marketed to ladies to put on their vanity or in their dressing room, something like that. Maybe it was even used in stores or beauty shops that women frequented more than men. It has a sleep button. You can depress that 4 times, 15 minutes each of extra radio play before it turns off. This one you can depress it 4 times or however many times and the radio does not turn off. Try and take a look at that inside. Here's our main off button, our main on button. If radio's off, you want to wake to the radio, you would depress this button. And it would, in conjunction with the alarm setting, would turn on the radio. This button, if you wanted to wake to the alarm, you would depress that button. And same way, wake to an alarm. But on this particular unit, no matter which of those two you press, it's going to turn on to the radio. So a lot of feminine things going on there. Looking at the bottom, we have one little foot stand there, and we have our little tube layout, typical All American 5 tubes, UL listing and serial number. We have our downward facing speaker, some ventilation ductworks, a second little foot stand there too. So turning around and looking at the back, more ventilation ductworks, 2 screws to take out when you want to get to the tubes, an interlocked AC power cord, and our time and alarm setting dial, and a courtesy outlet for 1000 watts. It says Bulova watch precision and gives electrical warnings. And as with several other old radios I have in the warning, do not defeat its IT''S purpose. Wrong use of IT''S, which means it is. So I've got quite a few radios it seems like that had that error back in the day, and I don't know why. Well, let's get these 2 screws off and take a look inside. Alright, taking the 2 screws out of the back, slipping the back off. We're face to face with the AM loop antenna. Let's lay that down so we can get a better look inside. So we can see better. I have a cheater cord plugged in because I want to test some of the button functions. Alright, we have our tuning capacitor on the other side of the tuning dial. We have our 12 BE6 converter, our antenna coil. Back here we have our first IF trimmer and our 35W4 rectifier. Back here we have our 12 BA6 IF amp. Up front we have our 50C5 audio output. And that's the only tube that's not, that I can see, does not have a Bulova stamp on it. So this might be a replacement. And over here we have our 12 AV6 detector and first audio tube. Back here we have our second IF, our volume pod, a few capacitors. We have our output transformer and our speaker. And our clock, which strangely enough you won't be able to see, I don't think, because of the small font, but it's a West clock's mechanism. Why Bulova would use a competitor's clock mechanism, I'm not sure. Also up front, I don't know, you won't be able to see too well, there's a couple of Samwa more modern capacitors in there. It looks like someone has replaced the filter capacitor at one time with a couple of Samwa replacement capacitors. Well, let's set up to test some of those button functions I'm curious about. Alright, let's try an experiment where we set the Bulova to come on to radio in the morning. Let me turn it off here. Now we'll press, I think this is the radio here. Okay, it's clicked on. I guess the tubes will warm up now. And we have radio. These little points aren't in the normal on position. So let's turn it off. Alright, let's try this. Radio's off. We're going to set it to come on to alarm, which is the farthest button. Notice the position there sets a lot differently. Alright, well, clicked on. I guess I don't hear an alarm. And probably we'll get the radio again once the tubes warm up. Yep. So whether you set it to come on to alarm or to radio, it comes on to radio. And the position of those little mechanical parts did not change. So if we want to turn it off, we have to press off. Okay, well, I'm no further ahead in my knowledge than I was before, but at least we got to look at how the things work in there. I want to try and look at the position of some of these components, see if I can see why the sleep timer is not working. I'm really no good at those clocks. So the radio is off now, and you see the position of that versus that. The little nub is sort of on top of that lower plateau there, so let's turn the radio on. Now they're lined up straight across, and as the tubes warm up, we'll get some type of audio. So that's the position of that switch area when the radio is on. You can see the position of those little trigger switches back there. Back in there. There's 4 of them, and each press gives about 15 minutes of sleep. So I'm going to press the sleep 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm just going to let this recording run and see what happens as they all come out or move back up. So it just clicked off. but it didn't turn off, and as you can see, the position of the on switch is still on. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It must be electrical, which is beyond me for these clocks. Alright, we'll try a little band scan here. Should be pretty easy on AM. I don't get many channels. They're all at the upper end of the dial scale anyway.
Hi, this is Dr. Leanne of Greenwood Family Chiropractic.
ACL on the other knee, the right knee in January. Right. And just doesn't compute. But it's a
we really hadn't photographed when we first started.
brings a little emotion to you, and you really start to realize that you know, this world's a little bit bigger than yourself.
And I'm 165. Way too young to get up at night to urinate, okay? So for you, as a puppy, it should be easy. You want to get on something called pollen de fleur. And this is a... Go full up.
Consensus All-American and the Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year last season, Christian McCaffrey, our guest.
Well, that's just a few of the channels I get. Once again, mostly on the upper end of the dial, talk and sports. Well, that's the Bulova 190 from the early 60s, I guess. AM clock radio, probably designed for the lady of the house. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.